made a pact. Listen, we are going to do these things. The first time they might not like it. We might not like it, but let's give them a chance. Let's let them do it again. Let's kind of get a routine. Let's not go crazy. Let's not panic. Let's let them tell us if they really like it or if they don't.
Join us for a chat with the experts as we help and encourage you to share in a life of adventure with your cat. Remember, no adventure is too big or too small. We can't wait to learn, grow, and explore with you. Hello and welcome to the Kitty Cat Go Adventure Podcast, where we discuss various topics related to traveling and adventuring with your cat. I'm your host, Emily Hall, and today we are chatting about how to acclimate your cat to water. Whether you'd like to get your cat comfortable with a wet towel wipe down in the summer, or you have water sport aspirations, this episode is for you. My guests for today are Finn and Lorraine of Fisher the Maine Coon. If you follow Fisher on Instagram, you've seen him boating, swimming, and even riding on an inner tube. He's a water cat if there ever was one, and as humans are here to share all their tips and advice for how to get our cats comfortable on, around, and even in the water. Hey guys!
Hey!
Hi!
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here tonight and sharing all your wealth of information. All right, so can you tell us a little bit about Fisher? And now you have Sailor too, right? And he's training?
Yes, he's actually sleeping up here right now.
That's awesome. So yeah, tell us about Fisher and Sailor and how you discovered their love of water and all of that.
Well, Fisher is a little older than 3, and when we first got him, we wanted a cat that was going to be able to travel and do things with us, and Finn is a 4th-generation captain, and so we wanted to get a breed of cat that we knew would like the water, would be independent, would travel, and just be flexible with all of our craziness. So we found Fisher, and we probably had him for maybe a month or 2 before we just started with water toys and like ice cubes in water and just giving him things that would make him interested so he would be more curious about it rather than us just putting him in it. And so he really just kind of owned the experience. And the fact is that if anybody has a cat, we're just here to serve. And if you make them do anything, they won't. But if they think that it's their idea, they will. So we just kept giving him more ideas and things to play with. And we went from ice cubes
in his water bowl. And then we graduated into the little electronic fish in the water bowl. Mm-hmm. And then we gradually moved it into a kiddie pool. And then after we felt comfortable with doing all that, then we put him in our pool on an inner tube and just kind of floated him around, put little, bit of water on his back. And then we put the inner tube in our house, just, sitting in our house. That way he would get used to walking over it and laying on it like it was a bed. And then we're like, okay, let's go to the Gulf of Mexico. And then we just sat him on the inner tube and he was like, oh, this is just like in the living room. And then we just gradually started paddleboarding. And then one day Lo was on the paddleboard with him. And I was on the shore, filming, and he saw me and he was like, hey, I want to go over there where Dad is. And then he just kind of put his paw in the water. And we actually have a video of him doing it. He put his paw in the water and then he just jumped in and started swimming to me on shore.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He was like, see ya. And then we realized, okay, now he wants to swim. We didn't actually make him go swimming or push him in or dip him in. I mean, I wouldn't say we're opposed to doing that. Maybe with Sailor, like, well, maybe, if he doesn't want to get in himself, we'll try it. But we never really force them, or
you can't force a cat.
Yeah, you can't really force them to do anything they don't want to do. We've learned that.
And we also, because we made sure that we started harness training him right off the bat. So, he did the typical, like, I don't know. And he wouldn't move, and then he felt better. So because he was harness trained, anytime we got him around water, such as in the inner tube and stuff like that, and when he was on the paddleboard, he always had a life jacket on him. So he had the freedom to test it out around us without us worrying about his safety. And that just kind of provided enough confidence that we could all fake it till we made it.
Yeah, sounds fair enough.
Yeah.
What is his favorite water activity?
The tube.
I think the inner tube. I really do. Like, I mean, he loves it all. Like, he loves being in the boat. Like, he loves the boating experience. But I say after, the swimming, I mean, I think maybe the tube. Yeah, I think that's it.
It is funny because we'll put him on the tube and we start to go and he's just like,
he just lays down and he looks around and if we're around people, let me tell you, it's a hoot. Everybody's just yelling, "Oh my gosh, there's a cat!" and people start swimming over towards us, and he's like a king on a throne. He looks like the Sphinx, He's just like, "That's right, this is my." I mean, it's hilarious.
He's really confident, and there's been a few times. There was one time that I was on the lily pad and he was there, and I was like maybe 12 feet from him, and he slid off the inner tube, and I had that moment. I was like, "I'm coming, Fisher!"
And he was just swimming.
He literally popped up and swam towards me, and Finn yells, "Stand up!
Yeah,
it's faster!"
I was like, "Lo, you can stand up. You're in shallow water. Just stand up, walk over to him. He's swimming. He's fine."
So he was fine. I had a moment of panic. He still had his life jacket on. So normally I am the fight or flight.
Yeah.
But it didn't work then. I was like, "I'm coming," and he's like, "I'll be right there." And he was just.
He has no fear around water, and when we're in the boat, we do live in Florida. It's very hot. He's very safe in the boat, and we live in an area where the water is like 4 or 5 feet, so it's very shallow water. And a lot of people are always making comments, "Why doesn't he have his life preserver on when he's in the boat?" And sometimes he does, but generally we only keep it on him when he's actually swimming. We use the Surfer Cat map. We've got one for Sailor. We got Sailor's new little baby one.
Oh.
Fisher's got one of every color. So we've got plenty of them, but it does get hot down here. And Fisher, they all obviously have very long hair. We keep them cool. We have the air conditioner on the boat that we have. We use the Icy Breeze air conditioner to keep them cool. We always give them a delectable licky treat to keep him hydrated on the boat. But with his fur, when we're in the boat, he has his harness on, and we never put the leash on him in the boat. We never tether him in the boat. Sometimes I'll see people put him in a carrier and zip the carrier up, or leash him and like tie him to a boat or tie him to the paddleboard.
Just don't want to confine him.
And I always, the first thing I do, I'm like, don't ever tie him to a boat or, a paddleboard. If it was to turn over and they get, wrapped up or caught up, you never want that to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, we know where we're at, and that's why he does wear the life jacket, or he's always in a harness or something, because we can get to him. But I mean, he doesn't have any fear, but we've also
safety is top priority. Believe me, we love him.
Yeah, we call him Safety Susan. So like both of us, we're a little compulsive about safety. So, and it's been great because we also think that he loved the water so much. Sailor had a little more trepidation with it, but he follows Fisher. Like, he's like, whatever Fisher wants to do, I want to do. So I think it'll be a pretty easy fit. He'll follow him.
Yeah. Where is Sailor in his training?
So he is at the he did the ice cube. He is doing the fish in the pool right now.
So he has like maybe an inch of water, like enough that his paws get wet, but not enough that it like submerges them. And we'll put a little more water in there. So
we'll add about 3 or 4 more inches and just let him play in that. And then we'll bring the tube into the house, and then we'll go from there. So I mean, it's just the beginning of summer. So I'd say by July, you'll probably around like the second weekend in July, when we go to Crystal River, my hometown. That's a freshwater lake or a river. So we want to make sure he's in fresh water when we try that.
And the water is much cooler. 72 degrees all year round. So that way it'll keep him from getting too hot and stuff like that. Yeah. When we dunk them, it's not salt water.
Yeah. My husband's parents live in Willaca, Florida, and they're right on the St. Johns River. And so we've taken the cats out on like their pontoon boat and stuff, and they love that. I think, you know, like the breeze and their birds, oh, this is so luxurious.
And they love the birds, the turtles, the dolphins. You know, they see the manatees. Fisher's, you know, been swimming with manatees before. They observe they see everything.
Yeah, and we went to one of the springs. I'm drawing a blank on which spring it was, but it's one of those springs on the St. Johns River where the water is like crystal clear. And we anchored there, and Kylo, one of my cats, actually went swimming there. He didn't jump in himself, but he was like sort of thinking about it. So I was like, you try it, and he went for it, and he did it, and I was
all cats can swim. People don't realize that, but all cats can swim, whether they like it or not. But they can swim, and they'll be fine, you know. But you know, you don't know till you try it.
Well, we have a question. Terry asks, how does Fisher or Sailor feel about rain, sea spray, or even the shower? Her cat feels like it's bugs on her fur until she gets used to it.
Oh, well, Fisher, it's funny because both of them are fascinated when anybody's in the shower. Like, it's, you know, I definitely have moments of psycho, right? Like, I'm like, are you gonna, and like Sailor is just like, are you okay in there? But then the minute I get out, Sailor would go in there, and same with Fisher, and like,
play with the drain. They want to know what's going on in the drain.
And we keep their water bowls in there.
Yeah, we keep our water bowls in the shower, because if you have a Maine Coon, you know that it is a water park wherever there's water. So we can't have a normal bowl of water, you know, anywhere other than in the shower, because there's just water everywhere all the time.
And you can hear the because he likes to watch it splash.
Yeah.
Which is funny because we tried fountains, and they were like, not for me.
No. They want to play in the water, and they want it fresh from the tap. And we don't. He's not allowed to have it out of. They're not allowed to have it out of the sink in the kitchen, but the bathroom sinks are a free game. So
that was like the one place that I was like, because I remember I had these like really utopian dreams where I was like, and no one's going to be on the kitchen counters, and no one's going to be on this furniture. And then I was like, just not let them drink out of the kitchen faucet. Like, if that's the one thing I
that's the only thing they're not allowed to do.
So I lost the battle, the war. It was done. And I remember Fisher finally got on the counter and was like,
yeah, what are you going to do about this? So the sea spray, the boats that we're on, there's not a lot of spray. So Sailor hasn't been caught in the rain, but Fisher has, and he's fine with it. He looks like a drowned rat, but I mean, because he's so fluffy, and when he gets wet, it's just like, you know.
Yeah, he just shrinks.
Yeah, he just shrinks, but he's fine. Being in Florida, we've been caught in the rain quite a few times.
Yeah. And it is interesting because like he is so good about it as far as the shower as well, because 90% of the time we're in salt water. So first of all, on the boat, we'll usually bring like a gallon jug or whatever, so we can rinse him off. So he's not
very important. If you get him in salt water, it's very important to wash them down with fresh water, because all that salt, that is not good.
But if we're boating around the house when we just come home and dock our boat, then we come up here, and he usually gets the pleasure of taking him into the shower and washing him. And Fisher's like, all right.
Yeah.
But he comes out and he just looks like a little string bean.
Yeah, he's fine with it.
So we'll see how Sailor does. More to come.
That's awesome.
I think the biggest key to all of this is, you know, Lo and I, from the very beginning, she hadn't owned a lot of cats before, dating me.
Just two.
And so we both are worry wards. So we made a pact. Listen, we are going to do these things. The first time they might not like it. We might not like it, but let's give them a chance. Let's let them do it again. Let's kind of get a routine. Let's not go crazy. Let's not panic. Let's let them tell us if they really like it or if they don't. And that's the same like with the car training. You know, people are like, oh my gosh, my cat would never go in the car. And it's like, I think a lot of people, you know, it's normal that once you do something with your cat and they don't like it the first time, we're like, oh, we're never doing that again. And people don't give them a chance. And we've just learned that let's just keep doing it. And it's kind of like you build up a routine, and they're like, okay, this is what we do now. We go out in the boat, we go in the car, we go in our stroller, we walk on a leash, we go tubing, we go paddleboarding, we go swimming. Like, it's just, biking was just a normal thing.
You make it fun, and treats are pretty much golden.
Yes.
High stakes treats.
Yeah.
We did stuff that they weren't sure about, like the squeeze up treats or some other, and again, that's why we got the toys after the ice cubes. Like, if they're playing, they don't know that they're trying something new.
Are you a cat adventurer looking for a sense of community, extra motivation to get out and do more, and ways to strengthen that bond between you and your cat? Or maybe something to challenge you to push the boundaries of cat expectations? Take your adventuring to the next level in our Trailblazers membership community, where I provide monthly challenges and activities designed to give you that extra push, as well as fresh ideas of things to do with your cat. Trailblazers is made up of cat adventurers from all over the world, some just getting started and some with years of experience, all ready to give you support and encouragement, share in your victories and struggles, and help you and your cat reach your goals. You'll find yourself right at home amongst your tribe. Learn more at kittycatgo.com/trailblazers. Yeah, I the point you made about how you need to give them time to learn that they like something, because I hear a lot, even just with harness training, right? People will say, like, they'll see me out with my cats, like, oh, I tried that once, but my cat hated it.
Once.
And they gave up.
Yep.
Of course. I
Once.
mean,
Yeah.
you have to give them more opportunity. And then if after a while they're not taking to it, then okay, that's fair. They don't like it, but
And I don't know. Let me grab something real quick.
Okay.
I don't know if the harness thing is a big deal for us on the boat, off the boat, but like, I see a lot of people will buy a harness that is very thick under their arms
Or on their
chest. And we use the Surfer Cat MAV harness. It's very minimal material, and we've just found that, like, the second we put it on Sailor, he had no clue. I mean, he was a kitten. The day we brought him home, we put it on him, and he was like, okay. Like, he did not one time think, what is on me, and do the death roll or any of that. And Fisher, when he was a kitten, we didn't have the Surfer Cat MAV harness. We got something off of Amazon. It was one that strapped under his arms. It was a lot of material, and he was like he just like stood there. He was like a statue, and he was like, I'm not moving. And we had to do a lot of training with him on that. But I think the minimal harnesses are just, it's key, so.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I use the ones that go strap under their belly and like around,
Right.
sort of like the Minwood cat jacket kind of style.
Right.
And cats stick to those pretty quickly. And I think it's always interesting to hear what harness worked for different cats, because they're all different, and that's why it's so important. If you try one harness and your cat is not taking to it, then it might just be as simple as trying a different style.
Another one. Yep. Well, we had the other one, and there was only one time Fisher ever got out, and it was with the other harness, and we freaked out. We lost Fisher for 5 minutes, and it scared us. So we used the Surfer Cat MAV escape-proof harness. So.
So on this line of harness training, Michelle on Facebook says that she's going to start training her cat Finn, and is wondering if it's a long process to harness train.
So, the thing is that it really just depends on your cat. Like, for us, it wasn't a long process. Like, the first time we put it on Fisher, he played dead, and we were like, you're fine. You're a drama. Queen, you're good. And then, but with Sailor, it wasn't. So I would say whatever high stakes treat that you want for your cat, that your cat is going to love, that's the only time they get it. So like when you put the harness on them, and then when the harness is on them, you give them that high stakes treat. And again, like the squeeze ups or something like that, where it's just like, it's kind of like, if you're going to give me a Snickers bar, I'm probably going to do something. So
just have them walk to you, and leave it on them for 30 minutes. give them a treat, have them walk to you. And if they're still not, take it off of them. The next day, do the same thing, put on, and just kind of keep it on them longer and longer. And, you know, like say the second or third day, they're still laying there. Just let them lay there. Just let them work it out. Let them deal with it. They're going to get up to go to the bathroom. They're going to get up. It's not killing them. You know what I mean? Like, just let them.
It's true. It's like our parents.
Yeah.
It really is hurting us more.
Yes, it's hurting you more than it is your cat.
I would say if you're not even to that point, like if you put it on and like they freak out or they have a moment or it looks like, you know, the Tasmanian devil, then I would say like put the harness somewhere before you put it on them and give them treats by the harness and acclimate them to the harness before you put it on them, because you don't want them to have a fearful reaction, because then you're going to have to work twice as hard to overcome that.
And you don't want them to get hurt. Like I've seen some videos that people think are hilarious that, you know, the cat's rolling around, hitting himself on the wall and stuff. It's not funny. Like if they're that distressed, just, you know, reset, lay the harness out, let them get used to it, let them smell it, give them the treats by it, you know, it's just going to baby steps. It might just take you, instead of taking a day or a week, it might take a month, it might take 2 months, but don't push them, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I agree. And out of my 4 that are harness trained, they each, it took a different amount of time for each one. I had one that it was like instant. It took no training. She was just like, oh, okay, whatever. And then another one that took maybe a couple weeks. And then another that is, you know, had took a few months. You know, it's like it varies. And as long, I think, as you're seeing forward progress, you might take a couple of steps back. Like you were saying, like you might have to step it back. But as long as generally there's forward progress, keep going and keep trying.
Right.
And the same thing, we would put the harness on him with the leash inside, let him walk around inside. And what we have found, we always want them to have a safe place. So like, I don't recommend just taking your cat out with no stroller or backpack or bag, something for them to have a safe place. And the same thing, have that bag in the house where they smell it, where they can get in it, take a nap. But we always recommend when you go on outside to have a safe place. If there's a dog or a person that they're not used to and they get scared, they have somewhere to go and just feel safe. So that's another key thing that we always agree that's a key thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys also on the boat?
Yes. So Sailor has a surfer cat training bag that used to be Fisher's, because Fisher is too big for it now. So Sailor inherited that. And then we have a kitty obsession hard bag. It's got, you know, a litter box in the bottom of it. And that's Fisher's go to the boat bag. So when we have a dock, we zip him up, put him on the boat. Once he gets on the boat, we unzip it. He sits and it sits by me. And you've seen his videos. When we're going fast in the boat, sometimes he'll sit on the bow of the boat. Sometimes he's in his bag. We let him walk around the boat and do whatever he wants. So if he wants to go in his bag, he's just sitting in his bag. If he wants to go on the bow, he goes on the bow.
Although one of the things you don't see is, because he can do whatever he wants and go wherever he wants, that I'm the shadow. Like, I mean, it's not a big boat, but a lot of people might see it. And of course, like the beauty of, you know, videos and editing and stuff. And so it seems like he's just having his Titanic moment and he's
she's sitting right next to him.
I'm literally like, if I was any closer, I would be a third appendage or a fifth or whatever. So, you know, it is one of those things, because again, we don't leash him, but I'm right there. And you know,
he's never tried to jump out or anything, but you just, you know,
you never know. You stick close.
Yeah.
And you know, the other thing is that we hear from a lot of people is, when I was saying normalize it, like when you want to take them out, like in the stroller or whatever, like his stroller is right behind us. You don't want to just take it out when you take them out. It's kind of like how people say, I get the carrier out and they know they're going to the vet. Like, just leave it out so they can get used to it and they get used to the smell and they think it's a good thing, rather than like, where are we going?
I know we also have friends that they have a special vet carrier and they have a carrier for adventure. So I know a lot of people will separate the two. You know, Fisher's been going through some treatments, and he goes in the same stroller or the same, you know, bag, just like we're going on an adventure. He's, you know, we use the same thing, but I know some people do separate that out. It's whatever works for you, whatever you find that your cat, acclimates to.
Yeah. Yeah. So if someone were interested in participating in water sports, whether it be boating or paddleboarding or kayaking or canoeing, what would you say the first step is for that?
Anything that you can do with them. Like, in other words, like as they acclimate, I mean, honestly, he did really well on the paddleboard because he could stand between my feet. Or like when we took him out on the boat for the first time, one of my favorite pictures is of him between my feet. Because he knows his person's there. So I think that was probably a good way to start, because then he got on the tube and he was like, I see my people, but you don't have to be right with me.
And I think a key thing is, I don't think it's a wise decision for you and your cat to learn at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you are new to paddleboarding, you need to go paddleboarding first, because what's going to happen when the kitty gets on there, the weight is going to be a different animal, so to speak. The weight distribution, the kitty walking around the paddleboard, you need to get on the paddleboard first. You need to get in that kayak and the canoe first and learn how to use it, learn how to paddle, learn how the weight distribution and stuff's going to happen, and then introduce them. So I wouldn't recommend to learn at the same time at all.
Yes.
Then you can just be consumed with what they're doing.
Yes.
And it is funny because I'm not an experienced paddleboarder, and I remember the first couple of times he got on there, and when 15 to 17 pounds goes from the front to the back, I was really glad I practiced yoga for 20 years, because I was like, I got this balance. But like there were a few times I was like, okay.
And the other key is we always are together when we are learning or doing these adventures. And usually there's more than us. We'll have our friends on the boats and stuff with us. I know a lot of people might just be single and, taking their kitty out. And I know that's hard to do that. So maybe if you could get a friend to go with you, it does help to have two people in some of these situations, just for safety reasons. For something reason, if you fall off your kayak or, it's just easier to have two people.
System.
Yeah, it's a good thing to have two people there.
Water.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. It's like the same reason why they say we really shouldn't swim alone or like scuba alone or something like that, because if something happens to you, then
or hike alone.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in Arizona. I was like, you never hike alone. Or if anything else, make sure you stick really close and that somebody knows where you're at.
Mm-hmm. We live in Florida, so when we go to freshwater, we know there's alligators there. Mm-hmm. But we go into places where we know that it's shallow. We can see the bottom. We see that, we don't go where there's a lot of grasses or lily pads or, we know where the alligators are. We don't go there where the alligators are. Same thing is we know there's sharks in the water. We know there's predators in the water. We go to places where we can see the bottom. Mm-hmm. It's shallow. We go where there's a lot of people. So there's a lot of commotion in the water. So, safety is always on our mind, so.
Because although he grew up on the water, again, fourth generation captain, I grew up in Arizona.
So I teach her, like the kitties, I had to teach her also.
Yeah. I was like, no. And I understand that there's things in the water and stuff like that. So I like safe, really predictable, shallow areas.
So kind of going back to the freshwater, saltwater thing, let me find that comment. Spike says, how do you keep them from licking or drinking the salt water? I know you mentioned rinsing them off, but is there anything that you do to like keep them from licking before you have the chance to rinse them off?
I mean, he'll lick a little bit, and if there's a couple licks that get in there, because they are very quick, that's one thing. But I mean, we get him on the boat and we soak him pretty quickly. Yeah. I mean, and I guess that's a really good point, because we do communicate very clearly and we do our best, and it's like a toddler.
Yeah. And you generally, when he is in the water, he has his life preserver on, and it kind of acts as a healing, like a healing donut. He's not got a lot of places to lick with this on. Mm-hmm. So, we pick him up, put him in the boat, and we immediately rinse him off with the gallon of fresh water.
Because it's always the front paws and the tail that he'll go for first. So that's usually what we French him in.
And like when you see us in the Keys, the beautiful crystal clear salt water behind us, and he's bathing, he's licking because we've already drenched him with cold or lukewarm fresh water. So he's going to town, and that's fine because the salt water's off of him. And we always get comments, that's bad for him. He's licking. He just came out of the salt water. And I always, Fisher always comments back, listen, my parents have really taken good care of me. I've already been rinsed off. Everything's good.
Yeah.
If you're worried that you're not going to get to them before they start looking and you're worried about it, again, like treat goes a long way. Like those squeeze ups, because you can literally be squeezing it up while whoever else is, drowning them in regular water.
But yeah, it's like there's a lot of preparation. We don't just go out in the boat and have a good time and everything happens naturally. We do a lot of planning. There's a litter box in the boat. There's a litter box in the car. We've taught Fisher how to go outside when we're not near a litter box. Like there's so much training. It's, people think I'm just going to get a cat and they're going to do it. No, there is a lot of training behind it. A lot.
And it goes back to the whole toddler thing. Like I've never thought that we would have so much stuff to travel with a cat. And now we're going to have two. And we go out on the boat and it's like, you've got his boat bag, you've got his leash, you've got his harness, we've got the life jacket.
Treats,
do you have the treats? Do you have the water? Do you have the food? Do you have are we getting on the boat? Yeah. So.
Yes. Whenever I travel, we road trip with our cats a lot, and I've even flown with one of mine a couple of times, and I always joke, like, the suitcase I have to pack for them is always bigger than my own.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
We joke about it all the time because we don't have kids, they're our kids, and I mean, it's just hilarious how much stuff we have. It's crazy. And when we buy stuff and they don't work out, we'll donate it to a cat shelter or some of our followers. And something, because they outgrow stuff very fast. They grow very fast. Sailor went to the vet today for his checkup, and he's 6 pounds. So he's
almost.
Yeah. So he's not kidding. He's not missing many meals, and he's growing fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How old is he?
15 weeks, I believe. He was born February 22nd. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So on the subject of gear and all the packing, what gear items do you always bring with you on the boat when you're out with the cats? I know we've talked about life jacket and
life jacket, his harness. We always have their harness on them. Fresh water, lick treats, litter box, towels, plural. We always bring towels. Fresh water rinse down. Let's see, what else? I think that's it. I think those are the only things. Which is a lot. Yeah, and so like if there's certain days where we're just going out for a sunset or a sunrise, we might not bring the life preserver because we're not going in the water. But we always have their litter box. We never want them to feel that they have to go and we don't have that. I never want them to be on anywhere and not be able to have that.
Yeah. You mentioned you trained him to go to the bathroom outside.
Yes.
How did you do that?
So what we do is we notice with Fisher, we would we take him everywhere. So one day we were at a bar and we had the litter box in the car, and he looked at me and meowed, and I'm like, do you need to go to the bathroom? So I literally walked over to like a flower bed. I put him down and I started scratching the dirt in front of him and just kind of like doing that. And he smelled it and he peed. That was it. It was like, it was crazy.
He figured it out.
And so we have not done that with Sailor yet. We haven't done the outside PP training. But so when we're out exploring, we make sure there's, with Fisher, this is talking about with Fisher, we made sure that we're around either mulch, a flower bed, or grass. And if not, we carry a little travel litter box underneath his stroller. In the Surfer Cat bag, there's a little litter box. And then at the bottom of his Kitty Obsession thing, there's a little litter box. And we've always had one with him if we're not going to be anywhere around, out the outside. So, I mean, he's gone to nightclubs, he's restaurants, you name it. He's been there.
That's awesome. What about Sailor? Where kind of places has he gone so far?
So he's gone to restaurants. Mm-hmm. He goes to Trader Joe's a lot.
Yeah, so I started to, because that's what I do on Saturday mornings. So, but it is hilarious because I take him and people are like, cat in there, because he's zipped up because he's such a little kitten. But yeah, so I think he's been to Trader Joe's more than anything.
Yeah, he's been to restaurants. He's been to a hotel. He went to Chewy. He did a photo shoot at Chewy. He did that for 2 days.
We went to the restaurant Rosie's when we were there, which was adorable. And we sat outside, and I felt like I was holding court because somebody even came up and they were like, "I heard there's a cat I got to say hi to." I mean, it was ridiculous. And he was like, "Yes, nice to meet you." Like he's done it all his life. And then we were hearing traffic and everything, and Sailor was like,
"He's been to grandma's." Mm-hmm. You know, we don't like we let them hear everything. We let them hear the vacuum cleaner. We let them hear that, like we did right when we got Sailor. They were doing construction on our building, and he'd sleep through it. It was loud.
They were cutting through concrete, and
jackhammering.
It was like I was bothered, but they weren't.
He slept right through it. So we don't shelter them from noises, or when we're going on a sidewalk in their stroller, there's people talking, there's cars going by. We let them hear all the sounds of the world. Mm-hmm. So he's been to hotels. He hasn't been to any bars or nightclubs yet, but he will be.
Yeah, that's a good point. We will fix that. Because that's the running joke with Fisher is if I take him somewhere, I'm like, well, I never want to drink alone, so I have my very large cat. So he's an excellent drinking partner. He sits there, he listens. It's fantastic.
Sounds good to me.
So, exactly. And, Fisher's been on, to 33 different states. He's been on multiple road trips, RV trips. Mm-hmm. We have a big RV trip planned in October. So that'll be Sailor's first big RV trip, but there'll be many road trips before then. So.
Yeah, that's cool. Where are you guys going on the big RV trip?
We have a month-long RV trip planned. We are actually getting married. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, we won't live in sin anymore. So finally.
So we're actually going to elope and, go on a month-long honeymoon with the kitties. We're going to do an RV trip out west.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, I can't wait to see all the photos and videos. I'm sure there will be many.
Yes.
There will be. We'll probably not be in one of them. It'll be like Fisher and Sailor on our honeymoon. Fisher and Sailor here. Fisher and Sailor doing this.
Yeah, so we're gonna obviously Fisher will probably be the best kitten, and Sailor will probably be the ring bearer. So we'll have to figure all that out.
Oh, I love it. That's so fun. Very cool. Well, you've got lots of congratulations coming in.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And one question, Michelle on Facebook says, what happens if Fisher gets scared of an outside sound? How do you handle it?
He either goes in his stroller in his bag and we let them let him just settle, and he will come out when he wants to. We never force them to do anything that they don't feel comfortable with. It's interesting. The only thing that really bothers him is loud motorcycles like a Harley. He's gotten better of it, but that's the only thing he really doesn't like. And then we don't mind people petting him in his stroller and stuff, but sometimes people will pet them like they're a dog, and like they grow in for their belly and rub it around, and he does not like that. He does not like his belly roughed up like a dog. So and then we just ask them, please don't do that. He does not like that.
Well, the thing is that when he does get, especially because he's in a stroller most of the time, or even in his backpack, what he'll tend to do is he'll crouch back and kind of look.
Yeah, he's like, yeah.
And we just tell him, we're like, it's okay, baby, you're fine. And that's all we do. We don't
just like a toddler, you don't just go in and baby.
You have to give him the space in order to just kind of reacclimate. And the same thing, when we're in the car and he hears a motorcycle and he doesn't like it, it's funny because he gets airplane ears and he'll duck down, but he's like,
yeah.
And he's much better about it because I think he's just endured it a lot. And he's pretty good with almost everybody he meets. But again, and especially after COVID and everything, he had been so socialized, but we were just very cautious with people petting him because you just didn't know.
Yeah, we didn't know if it was, you could. Yeah. So we kind of just said, we'd rather you not pet him right now. And
And honestly, kids are the cutest, and he doesn't get scared
about them. Kids are awesome. They always ask for permission too. Like the adults just go right in for him, but the kids are like, "Hey, can I pet him?" And it's so cute to see that. And with Sailor, it's hilarious because he's been to a baby shower already, and we just handed him off, and he just made his rounds. Everybody held him and passed him around. I think he was like out of her hands for like an hour at the baby shower. Like I did the same thing with Fisher, like especially because it was before COVID and people would be like, "Oh, can I see him?" And I'd be like, "Do you want to hold him?" Yeah. And he got used to the fact that we weren't the only people that were good. And so Sailor, literally, I showed up and a friend of ours was like, and I was like, "Here, you want to hold him?" And she said, "Can I walk him around?" And I said, "Bye-bye, I'll be right here." And I finally, our third friend brought him back, and I was like, "How's he doing?" She's like, "I think he's tired." I was like, "I wonder why." And he went into his little carrier, took a nap, and then stuck his head out like 20 minutes later. I was like, "Now what?" So he's been to the beauty salon with her, and they both have, and then you hear the hair dryers and people talking, and just get them acclimated to all kind of sounds.
You mentioned the hair dryer. That have you ever, when they're wet, have you ever tried blow drying them dry?
No. Sailor hasn't been wet yet. Fisher has, and we let him do his own grooming. He's very, he's like, "Let me do it," and we brush him out, and then we let him. Usually, he'll go out in his cabana, out by the outside on his little cabana. And it's so like humid here, it just like he gets dry pretty quick. But I don't think he would be. His coat is also, meant to be wet, so that makes a difference. Yeah, I don't think he would mind a hair dryer. Like I said, a lot of the sounds he's fine with. And
I know Fisher with like a blowout.
His Beyonce moment, like he's just like, let the fan go on. Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking, I don't want to, dry my mop and I do it. I can't imagine having to do him as well. Like one person's enough in this household.
Carrie on YouTube says that you mentioned Fisher's treatments and she just wanted to wish you well and that
thank you so much. Yes, he's going back to the vet this month. He did 20 rounds of radiation. He had the surgery, had the lump removed, and we're supposed to be with the vet to see if we are going to do chemo, if he's going to be a candidate or not. If he's cancer free, we might not do the chemo. So we're trying to figure out. Unfortunately, this type of cancer generally comes back. So we just want him to be comfortable, and we want to, make sure he's got the best quality of life.
Yeah,
absolutely. But he's doing great. He's doing great.
Good. That's good to hear. Well, thank you guys so much for spending the evening with me and sharing all of your tips and tricks. I know everyone in the comments is thanking you, and we all really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
We're so glad we could share anything we've done.
Yeah.
Your cat adventures even better.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks again, Finn, Lorraine, Fisher, and Sailor. For those listening, be sure to follow Fisher and Sailor on Instagram and Facebook at Fisher the Maine Coon to see more of their water adventures. Are you enjoying the Kitty Cat Go Adventure podcast? Let me know by leaving a review. This will help others to find it and hopefully be inspired to get out there, try new things, and go new places with their cat. What questions do you have about adventuring with cats? Or maybe you'd just like to chat with me about what you learned in this episode. Find me on Instagram at kittycatgoadventures. You can also screenshot this episode and tag me in your stories so I can see who is listening. I'd love to continue the conversation with you, so find me on Instagram or join our Facebook group, Kitty Cat Go Adventure Team, so you can connect with a whole community of fellow cat adventurers. And as always, you can find the show notes, including all links and resources discussed in this episode at kittycatgo.com/podcast. Until next time, happy adventuring.